Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 26 of Enigmatica 2 Expert. Where were we? At this point, we were nearing the end of the completion of the ultimate ingot crafting process with only a handful of ingots left. But before we get back to that today, I think there's one small task I want to divert to and solve, and that is the fact that our storage is very nearly full. If we look, our modular storages here, most of them are full, some of them have like 50-ish slots left. So it's time to expand our storage. And while I could just like add 2 more rows of modular storage, and that probably will actually be enough generic item storage to close out the pack, like 99.999% of our items are actually stored in drawers, right? It's just items that we have in relatively low quantity that get stored into these. I think it's not exactly the best way of doing things. So I think it's time that we did move on to digital storage, perhaps. Part of that is because we're going to have to automate the inscriber sooner or later, and once we automate the inscriber, digital storage is free. So let's automate the inscriber now. I'm setting up my inscriber automation slightly different than usual this time. I want to try using item filters a whole bunch instead of channels on my item conduit channels a whole bunch. I don't actually know if this will be... I mean, functionally, I know it'll work. I don't know if it'll be easier or harder to set up. But the idea is we put all the items on the same channel, and then we just filter the inserts. So every single machine inserts on brown, extracts on brown, and we just filter the inserts to say what gets to go into each machine. They should also probably have round robin on. So, like, we have 3 inscribers doing silicon like this. And then here we'll have 3 inscribers, one that does gold, like so, and then one that does pure Certus, which I am making on site. I have a chain of machines here that takes raw input of Certus quartz and sand, sag mills the Certus quartz, crafts it with sand, and then grows it into pure Certus to avoid needing the crafting card here. Anyways, I'll show you this when it's all configured. I suppose it looks the same configured versus not configured, but each one of these has item filters. So the final results I still want to store into drawers as before, but one slight difference is that this pack requires us to keep some in like circuit form because there's various uses for them besides turning them into processors. So specifically gold and engineering, or whatever this one's called, logic and engineering, are the ones that are used in circuit form. Everything else we are safe to turn all the way into processor form. So this design makes it a bit easier, and if it turns out I'm wrong and I overlook something, I can easily add another drawer here to siphon off any of the intermediate products. So we just have to turn this insert on. We technically don't have to filter this one because the drawers do the filtering for us, and it'll split off, some amount of the ones that are that go into the drawers. Because everything's on round robin, it'll split off half of the printed stuff into these drawers, and am I going to need 64 stacks of printed logic circuits? Let me tell you, the answer is no. I'm going to need at most 1 stack, but I don't know, I'm too lazy to make drawer downgrades. Anyways, I'm going to put drawer upgrades in a couple of these, probably these 2, let's put drawer upgrades in everything. Whatever. At least in the processors, because I think the creatives use one of the very large cells, right? Yeah, okay, they use the largest storage cell. So we're going to have to store up a large number of logic and calculation processors to make them. But yeah, just with this, I think we should be able to make 64Ks reasonably easily. Let's, can I do 20 of them? Sure, looks good to me. Yeah, fire. I'm actually... just for a small convenience, add 2 more drawers here, and that'll be for Certus dust and pure Certus crystals. So you and you. They are resources we can make on demand already, and reasonably quickly at that. However, still it's marginally faster to make it not on demand, but it's marginally faster to make it have it pre-made than to make it on demand, right? So minor, very minor, very, very, very minor improvements. With that distraction out of the way, let's get back to the ultimate ingot. So there are four ingots left, 3 of them are psi ingots. One of them is an extended crafting ingot. Let's do the psi ones first. Psi metal then is made by converting gold to psi metal with a CAD assembly with this trick. But we're getting perhaps a little bit ahead of ourselves. First thing we have to do is follow the side tutorial to unlock how to actually do things. So you can read this if you like, but what it wants us to do is make this CAD assembler and this iron CAD assembly to make a casting assistant device. This is like a spell caster. Then if I get some redstone, just a little bit will do. We can throw it on the ground, shoot it, and that becomes sawdust. Now when we press the C hotkey, was it B? No, it's C. Oh, I see. If you press C while we have a thing, it opens the UI. But if you press C while you don't have the CAD, like a casting thing in your hand, it tells you, it opens this tutorial. You kind of have to do the tutorial to unlock spells, which is a little bit annoying. But anyways, we learned it. This part of Psi is the spell programming part, which I think is by far the most awkward part of the mod. So you have to craft yourself a spell programmer, open it up, and you have this grid. And this is where you actually put the spell. So for now, we only know a little bit. Spells are tricks. A trick is what actually does work. So we're going to, the tutorial requires us to cast a debug trick. The debug trick requires a little bit of information to cast. So if you press shift over, it tells you that you need a target. So our target will be us, because that is the only selector we know. And then we just have to tell it, hey, read the target information from the right. If I put us, I think you can just delete. Yeah. If I put us here, you can right click to open this up, but caster, then we want us, we want to select up. Anyways, that is done. So I think there's something, our CAD assembly is not complex enough to accept this spell, which means we have to upgrade our CAD assembly. That's with these things, if memory serves me right. So let's make a new CAD assembly. The important parts for now are the core and the socket. There's things that can go down here, but we don't need those for now. So, armed with our new CAD casting assistant device, we can now cast this spell. To actually load the spell into the CAD gun, you need to make a spell bullet. There's like different tiers. And then right click that on, and it makes a badan. Then I think you can shift right. How does this work? You put this in here, you put the bullet in there. There we go. And now we have the spell loaded into our CAD. So press C, then we can pick which spell we want, and then right click to cast it. Woohoo. We've printed our information to the world. I'm going to continue through the Psi tutorial until we learn the Infusion Trick. If you want more information about how exactly this works, I think Dyer has a pretty decent mod spotlight on it, but I don't think you need to see me programming spells for the next like 10 minutes while I get, grind through these tutorial levels. So like this requires us to cast a spell that does that. When do I get Infusion? No time soon, that's for sure. Level 10, great. I'm going to go ahead and not admit how long it took for me to get to level 10. It's been a long time since I've used this mod. If you go through the tutorial once, it actually supposedly saves it across all of your instances. That feature's never quite worked right for me, but it's also been like 2 years since I've last used Psi. So anyways, now that we are at level 10, if I come here, we can unlock the Infusion Trick. This one's kind of trivially easy to set up. It doesn't take any inputs. It's just that. And let's give it a relevant name. Throw it into our spell bullet. And we can throw gold on the ground. Pick the right spell. Bam. Psi metal. Alright, that gives us Psi metal. Now we need to do ivory Psi metal. This is by... we have to learn ebony and ivory trick. And I think we have to go to, let's see, it's the end for ivory, and I think for ebony, it's probably the nether. Ebony and ivory, wait, it says it. Coal and quartz while in the end while infusing redstone, gold, and diamond. Okay, so they're both in the end. Alright, well, yeah, so that gets a psi metal. Psi metal also unlocks like the better tier psi equipment, so we can get a better CAD assembly. There's like better cores and batteries and sockets and whatever. But for now, I guess I'm back to the grinding out until we get. Oh, great! Wait, no, that's not it. What level do I have to reach now to get ebony and not this one? Are we there already? Where is it? Hold on. Here it is. Level 15 gives us greater infusion and ebony and ivory. So I have to do 5 more tutorials. Well, I blitzed through these 5 levels because there are some pretty easy ones. So now we're on to infusion. For now, I'm just going to do this infuse trick, and that is another trivially easy one because it takes no inputs. So, ebony and ivory. Ebony and ivory. And then we will slot it into this spell here. Alright, so let's get some coal and quartz and head to the end. And out of that gosh darn rain. Alright, so if I place this, your CAD's... Oh, okay. I guess I need to upgrade this to the a better CAD real quick. Upgrading to a psi metal CAD assembly with better bits everywhere. I don't actually know which bit was the limiting factor. Oopsies, don't need you. Let's transfer our spells over from our old one to our new one, because there's relatively little reason to keep an old CAD assembly around. Well, so now with that, we should be able to do all the same things. We can set you to this, and once again head back to the end, where hopefully we can do the thing. Did I do it? Yep. Now we have ivory and ebony substance. These are used to craft the ingots. If I need more, it's probably easier to conjuration catalyst more, because it uses basically no mana. And the conjuration catalyst in this pack is quite cheap. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to use you to duplicate all of these substances, and then we can move on from Psi for now. There are like cool things you can do with the mod, besides literally just blitzing through the progression, but most of it's rather early game stuff, and the mod was locked until, well, just recently. But anyways, this should... I think it takes... If we want to make a stack of ultimate ingots, we need a stack of this, so it's like 8 stacks of each of these substances. So, dupe away. At this point, there's only 1 ingot left in the ultimate ingot we don't have, and scrolling all the way to the bottom, we have the enhanced ender ingot. Alright, so this is made in the ender crafter, which is, you need an ender crafter and a bunch of ender alternators out of regular ender ingots and eyes of enders and nether stars. Alright, I'm going to make 2 ender crafters because we have to make the ender star as part of this crafting thing. Is this something I need enough of that I can actually just batch craft? And maybe we can get away with just batch crafting these instead of fully automating it. Let's just batch craft it for now then. Given that, I guess we only need 1 ender crafter. So, well, these are super cheap. Let's automate it just because. The speed of the ender crafter is dependent on how many ender alternators are around, and right now I only have 1 layer here. There's no reason we can't expand it upwards. They search in like a 4 block radius in each direction, I think, something approximating that. But anyways, we need 2 ender crafters. Each one, for automation purposes, can only handle 1 recipe. If you're obviously handcrafting, that's no longer a true statement. So we're gonna put the recipe in here and very quickly come here, hit the save recipe button. Okay, I guess it doesn't have to be all that quick. You are a lot slower than I thought. We're going to need more of these ender alternators. Apparently it also only looks in a 3 block radius by the looks of things. So we can rearrange our alternators a little bit. But anyways, as you can see, it crafts pretty slowly. The automation interface is used to automate the ender crafter. You want to configure it such that it, well, you can push into it directly from the MB interface, I believe. It might be better to push into a buffer chest. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've used this. But then again, given how slow the crafting is, we'll be limited by the crafting speed, not the item insertion speed. So I guess nothing to worry about there. But yeah, you need to put the recipe in the table, hit the save recipe button, and then it's I configure it to auto eject the final product back up. And then we can just configure these to push their items into the automation interfaces. So this one makes that nether star, whatever that star was called, ender star, and then this one makes ender ingots out of it. So if I get this, I hope this crafts a little bit faster. It isn't. Good. Save that recipe. And then I just have to put in the ME recipes. With a few more alternators, it should be at least bearably fast. So I'll hit go. I don't think they even have to point at the, yeah, they don't even have to point at the crafter. Oh, I guess I still have an extra row here. I'll get rid of that in a second. But, you can no longer click on it. When we get down there, there we go. This is now crafting at a bearable speed, and the items are going through the automation interface just fine. Cool. Can I click on that one? There we go. Alright, we're in business. The time has come. The ultimate ingot should be craftable now. So, let's make a stack. I doubt this is enough to finish the pack with, but stack's a good starting point, right? Taking a while to calculate. 26,000 bytes. That's a lot of bytes. But yeah. We hit the go button, and the way I have it configured, I expect all 64 stacks of ingots from that should get dumped into this chest when it's ready. We'll have to manually move them to the ultimate crafting table, but shouldn't be that bad. We just have to see what here takes a while. Honestly, all of my setups are pretty darn fast, so I don't expect the bottleneck will take, I don't expect this will take very long. Maybe, oh, I guess making the packages might even be the slowest part, because I only have one package encoder. No, it's probably the alloy smelters that are the slowest part. Oh, and there are some manual steps too, like my crystalline ingots. That's one that we could probably automate. What tier crafting table does crystalline use? If it's not like the tier 4 table, we can do it. That's a tier 3 one. Yeah, we'll do that in a bit. I feel like we've gotten more rain in this video than we have like the last 20 combined. Not quite sure what's up with that, but we can get rid of it easily enough. While those ultimate ingots craft, I set up the system here. Oh, I can't open that chest, can I? It's fine. For crafting our, what are these called? Crystalline ingots. So the interface pushes into a chest, and I'm using the integrated dynamics here to move the items very quickly into the automation interface. I believe this is a case where the crafting table is instant, so your bottleneck is how fast you can move the items. So now if I order 100 of these, they should all, well, I can't open that chest, but they are being placed here. I definitely want to set you on blocking mode, because if I order two, in fact, if I did more than a stack at a time, it's about to get stuck. And I'll show you what I mean when it gets stuck pretty soon. Because this only happens if you order more than a stack at a time. It'll get itself into a state where it actually doesn't have room to put the next item that's sitting in the automation interface. But anyways, it may or may not actually happen, I guess. Let's wait and see. So as you can see, this is about as fast as you can ever run the automation interface. Here we go. Now it's stuck. So that's why it needs to be on blocking mode. And if you insert items very quickly, say with integrated dynamics, that blocking mode doesn't actually cost you speed. Still stuck. All right, now it's unstuck. Anyways, because I ordered more than a stack, I have to do some babysitting here. But when it's all said and done, it can craft. And I guess the crafting table isn't instant. The automation interface, all things considered, is just a very slow crafter. Very, very slow. Much disappointing. But this is automated, so, it's better than me having to do it by hand. And I'll admit, it is pretty fun to watch it do its thing. Like, it draws the recipe, and then when it completes it, it disappears. Kinda cool. It's like playing Tetris with crafting tables. The downside of that, in addition to being slow, is that each crafting table can only handle one recipe, which isn't really a problem for the lower tier crafting tables because we can auto craft. I mean, we can auto craft all of them, but the tier 4 crafting table is pretty expensive. Anyways, here is all our ingots. So time to put them into the into here. I believe this is a shapeless recipe, so we can just literally move everything over and we'll be okay. But hopefully I'm not wrong. Last few stacks. Please be shape. I mean, I guess even if it isn't shapeless, we can just have NEI fix it, right? Or JAI fix it. There we go. 1 stack of ultimate ingots. And then I can either put them back to complete the craft, or I can just hit the cancel button. Hit this cancel button too. All right. So I'm somewhat surprised that didn't complete a quest. Hello? Quests? No, I guess we don't get any quest progress until we make the creative power cell. All right, fine. In that case, let's move on down our creative power cell recipe list and see where we get stuck next. So we made the cells, we can make the RTG fuel. Californium Rtgs. For this, we need to make Californium 250, and there's a whole process that we have to go through to get here. This is a byproduct from the tiny clumps, which comes from reprocessing some of this fuel. I'm going to go look up a recommended fuel order to get here. We only need 4 ever, technically 3, because we already have 1, right? We have 1 from a dragon's nest. So I'm not even going to set up like an automation system for this. I'm just going to manually run reactors for a little bit, because if we, let's see, like if we run, this fuel, we only need to do a couple cycles of it. Or if we run this fuel, we only have to do like 2 pellets of this fuel ever. So I'm not going to bother fully automating this. I'm just going to, oh wow, this is fast. But yeah, I'm just gonna, we're going to do a very manual setup here. Here's the plan I'm going to do for fuels anyways. Start with thorium. We can take thorium ingots, separate that into thorium-232 and trash. With 232, we make TBU fuel, which burns into stuff that lets us make neptunium fuel, then americium, then curium, and then finally berkelium. And one last step that gets us to Californium. So that's a chain. There's like 5 or 6 steps in there. Next, to build the reactor. I noticed fuel burn times in this pack are exceptionally short, so we don't need a fancy reactor. We just need a reactor that has a lot of cooling. And I believe we can alternate cryothium coolers with, let's see, what exactly is the requirement for, oh, I'm no longer AFK. Thanks, game. Must be adjacent to at least 2 reactor cells. Yeah, I believe we can make a grid, an infinite grid of coolers and cells. Reactor cells. The more reactor cells you have, the faster your reactor runs. The more cryothium, and cryothium coolers are just very good coolers. So yeah, by doing this, in fact, our cryothium might just be the best passive cooler. Endear or Emerald is tied with it. I guess there's a couple tied with it, but yeah, we can just make a grid of cryothium coolers, reactor cells. It might run hot. I don't know. If we have to, we can put like a safety loop in. Let's just build the reactor and try it out. Look, worst case, we melt a reactor. What's the worst that could happen? This here could probably accurately be described as one of my more haphazard reactor builds. But whatever. We're building this reactor for one thing, and that is to run it very briefly, and these reactors don't have catastrophic results if they fail. So, we'll try it, and if it turns out this stupid idea doesn't work, we'll do it right. Let's try 5x5 interior size, 7x7 exterior size, and then the inside just looks like a alternating checkerboard of coolers and cells. And you can make this however tall you like. I think it doesn't even have to be an odd number height, does it? You can make it even if you are crazy. Had the shape of the fission reactor slightly wrong. It doesn't have any of like the edges or the corners, or basically every casing has to touch an interior component. So anyways, here's our controller. You need to give it a redstone signal to run. So let's put a lever here. For now, I'll just if our fuels don't run hot, we don't even need a safety loop. We can just turn it on. For our starting fuel, then I'm just processing thorium through a a isotope separator here with full speed upgrades. It's fast, and that gets us thorium to 32. So let's slap a storage bus on it, and then we can start turning that into actual fuel. The first fuel type, TBU fuel, burns quite cool, so I suspect this will not. Our heat reduction will be greater than our heat generation. Is that true? Yes, it is. So if this number is negative, that means that it is impossible for us to melt this reactor down. Wow, you actually burn a long time. 60 minutes? Starting from TBU fuel is a poor choice. I was looking at some of these up here when looking... Wait, hold on. What? Oh, so it's only... These reactor times are way longer than... Why did I think they were in the order of ticks? Is it like... Even that one's 30 minutes. Okay, no, they're all very long processing time. What? I think I saw the word minute and I interpreted it as ticks. And I was like, yeah, it'll run for 60 ticks, no big deal. All right, the processing time is divided by the number of cells you have, but even this is way too slow. Now, you can time in a bottle, and I believe... Yeah, and that does work. It increases both the processing, like it reduces both the processing time and the fuel time. So how about, I'm just going to make this reactor bigger. A bigger reactor runs faster, and bigger it is. Oh goody. None of the coolers count as tile entities, so we can copy paste it. I'm gonna have to move this ritual, unfortunately, but that's no big deal. Scale, the solution to all problems. We have a 9 by 11 by 11 reactor. That is pretty huge. It is still heat negative. I mean, TBU fuel, again, being the coldest fuel in the game, is going to be heat negative in literally every reactor you try to build. So, all right, here we have it. Now, this combined with the time in a bottle runs at an acceptable clip. Once the fuel is depleted, we just run it through an isotope separator. Oh, nope, not an isotope separator, wrong machine. A fuel reprocessor. And this machine is quite fast. We are limited by how quickly we can extract because it produces more than one stack of items a tick. So we overwhelm even the integrated dynamics item transport. I'm just gonna dump it all natively into the ME system. It's gonna fill up our digital storage or whatever, but we can make enough storage. So anyways, that is step 1. Step 2 is, let's see, to craft lowly enriched Neptunium-236. I just realized the amount of energy this reactor holds. Anyways, run the next stage of the fuel. Because of inefficiencies, each subsequent stage has less fuel. Like most of the byproducts are not reused. So I probably have to run a larger batch of the initial fuel just to get us started. But that's American. I'm just gonna run this through and see how much we have. So what I'm just doing is seeing like how much can I craft. Can I make 10? No, but I can make 6. Yes. And this is like the second to last step, so end is in sight. Well, at the end we get one piece of the highly enriched berkelium. Just one. The highly enriched versions are much harder to make. Ooh, that is heat positive. So I do have to worry about this. I cannot run too many cells at once, otherwise we will melt our reactor. And I mean, it's not bad, but it's not good. That gets us one more piece of Californium 250. So we're getting there. I guess based on that, I need to... If every 100 pieces of input TBU gets us one output, then I need another 300. Let's just do 400. Make sure our rounding is in our favor. And I'm just going to run this through all by hand, and in 5 minutes, when this is done running, we never have to run this reactor ever again. Based on the fact that my reactor is effectively a 1-to-1 ratio of coolers to cells, any fuel that generates less than 4 or 140 heat per tick default will be heat negative in here. So this is just a bit under 140, so that's heat negative. This next one is well over Where is it? Yeah, well over 140, so that's significantly heat positive. Anyways, can we make... I think this is the last step, so 5 of them. Can I make any more? Oh, I can make 2 more. That's it. Alright, so these I'm just going to run, again, 1 at a time. Because if I run 1, it'll finish before it melts my reactor. And then I'll let it cool. And then start another one. It does make a fair bit of power. I think that was like 1 point something million RF a tick. At the same time, it burns through each fuel pellet in... does it say how long? Normally 35 minutes, but I only get... I don't know how much I don't get much out of it. Whatever, we're almost done with this. I think this reactor here was a great case of... It is something that you typically automate, but since you only need like a fixed amount of output from it, instead of going through all the trouble to automate it to get what is effectively an infinite amount of output, you can do 1/10 the work, run a little bit of batch processing for 30 minutes, and then when you're done, never touch it again. And at this point, we are done. So that should let us make those 4 Californium Rtgs. Is that true? Yes, it is. Good. In fact, we have enough Californium left for 3 more. Don't know what we're going to do with the extra 3. I mean, I guess technically now we can make 2 creative energy cells. Woohoo! Right, because this is 7 and I have an 8th one powering our stuff right now. With these out of the way, let's move on. We can already make elite plating. I'm going to pin and skip this for a bit. This is a little bit tricky of a recipe because of this quantum entangled singularity that's here. You can't actually create these without MBT data. And when you do a processing pattern, I believe the crafting is MBT data exact sensitive. So I don't know actually how to automate this using purely applied energistics. We might have to do something clever. So I'm going to skip that for now. We can make dilithium already. Next row, ultimate induction providers. We can make these. So let's just kick off 4 of them because they take a little while. So ultimate induction providers. All right, let that craft. While that crafts, energy cells, these we just have to use upgrade kits on energy cells, right? Yeah, we can't craft them default. Let's just make 8 of those real quick. You don't want to drain your capacitor when you craft these. Just make sure you take your capacitor off. Put it somewhere where it can't see the cells, because it will try to charge the cells in your inventory, which is a little bit annoying. Oh, something in my inventory is trying to charge these. Why are they being charged? Oh, I have a wireless charger. Alright, well, whatever. These items will never stack. I mean, I guess they never stacked in the first place, right? That's no big deal. And there we go. Moving on. Next thing we need, let's see, we just did that, and those are the solar array controller tier 5. 2 5s and 2 4s. Alright, that shouldn't be too bad. I think... Yeah, I think this will be just fine. Up through tier 3, these are trivial recipes, or just nested crafting. At tier 4, it becomes a 5x5 crafting recipe, and even this one isn't that bad. So let's just craft 4 of those real quick. Let's see, I've already made the 3s, so where's my 4s? This, again, I'm just dumping all the materials into a box and then doing the final step by hand. But it's pretty heavily nested, so it might take it a second to get here. But tier 5 is... I mean, it's the same idea, it's just a lot of steps. Jeez. Alright, well, let's encode it. One of the components that goes into the tier 5 solar panel, each tier 5 uses 2 of these high voltage solars. I had to upgrade our crafting CPUs just to be able to make this. They, yeah, use a lot of ingredients. A whole lot of ingredients. The tier 5s took a little bit of effort to craft, but they're done now. So, moving on. Bentonite, I'm also going to skip this one just because I don't feel like dealing with it right now. We'll get back to our 2 little crystals later. We need 4 ultimate induction cells. I think I had previously crafted extras of these with intent to put them into my induction cube, but I never did. So there we go. We just have it. 2 Draconic Energy Cores. That shouldn't be too bad. I think we have one already, so maybe one more. And these are, relatively speaking, quite cheap. Although still a lot of steps. And 1 Ultimate Catalyst is pretty easy to make. It's just a couple more of those Ultimate Ingots. So I've already added that to our box of goodies. That just leaves 2 Rainbow Generators and the crystals. With the Rainbow Generator recipe changed a fair bit, the default Rainbow Generator is just the top and the bottom. So with the change to add all this other stuff, I don't think we can quite do it right now. So why don't we wrap up today here? We'll come back next time and tackle the Rainbow Generator, Bentonite, Algicite, and with any luck, make the Creative Power Cell. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care, and bye-bye.